Hello everyone and welcome back to Age of Nagash, which is a channel dedicated to Age of Sigmar. And in this quick video I'm just going to talk about the news we've got from the Warhammer community. I've just done an article talking about a little bit of a preview for the Beasts of Chaos Battletome coming out. So just going through the article, what they've done here is they've listed all the fractions that are going to be within the Battletome, so being within the Allegiance, and that is going to be Preorder, Warherds, Thunderscorn and Monsters of Chaos. So they are going to be the four factions within the Beasts of Chaos Allegiance. Something that's also important to note though is that they've also mentioned a couple of times now that Zangors are going to be featured in the Beasts of Chaos Battletome, and also they're not listed amongst those factions there. And something that's also important to note with the Zangors again is that they've also mentioned in this article anyway that there's going to be a few Zangor units allowed in the Beasts of Chaos Allegiance. So I presume this is going to be obviously your typical Zangors just on foot. I think there will be things like Zangor Skyfires and the Zangor Enlightened. Now I think these two units will definitely be included as well, and that's because there's not that many Zangor units are there, so it's probably going to be them. But also, if you look on the Games Workshop website, at the moment, if you click on the Preorder's faction of the Grand Alliance Chaos, down that tab, you click on the Preorder faction. It's all a little bit mumble-jumboed, and I think this is a little bit of an error on the website, but they have got a mixture of different units from different Chaos factions within the Preorder tab. So like I say, it might be a little bit of an error, but I think this is basically something we're going to see later on in the sense of the Beasts of Chaos tab on the Games Workshop website. So this, like I say, this might just be a little bit of an error, but these are some of the units that you can expect to see. And like I say, Zangor Skyfires and Zangor Enlightened are there, along with the Zangor Shaman. So if they are included, then that is pretty much all the Zangor units, unless I'm missing something, which I don't think I am. Interesting though, like I say, if you go on the Preorder's tab, like I say, take it with a pinch of salt, because I think this is something that needs to be corrected on here. But normal Zangors aren't on it either, but neither are things like Warherds as well. So like I say, it's just a little glimpse of what we're going to see in this army. So yeah, that's basically talking about the Zangors and stuff that they've mentioned in the article. What they've also mentioned is talking about basically the unique lore the Beasts of Chaos are going to have, and their sort of relationship with Chaos, what will be quite nice, because from what I've always seen from like Beastmen before and Preorder and Age of Sigmar, is they do worship the Dark Gods, but in a very sort of unusual way. They don't really worship them, and correct me if I'm wrong, because my knowledge is not going to be as good as some of you out there, but as far as I'm aware, they don't really worship the Chaos Gods individually. Like as far as I'm aware, I don't remember things like Beastmen being devoted to Khorne and devoted to Nagash and Nurgle and Tzeentch, and of course you have things like Zangors, and I know some people made like in the hobby some like Pestigors were like Nurgle Beastmen, but that was like really cool hobby stuff. But I don't think in the lore there's a connection there, apart from obviously the Zangors with Tzeentch in recent lore. So yeah, that would be a nice thing to see how the lore of the Beastmen and the other Monsters of Chaos have sort of developed in Age of Sigmar. And then it also goes on to say that you'll be able to customize your Beasts of Chaos, essentially, so your like Monsters of Chaos and your Preorder, and it basically means you'll be able to customize your Beastmen like never before in Age of Sigmar. And this is going to say with new rules, but also with new command traits. So these new command traits are mainly aimed for Preorder, Warherds and Thunderscorn, it tells us. So in perspective, it's aimed at your Gors, your Minotaurs and your Dragon Ogres. And this could be done in two ways that we've seen this before, sort of unique to certain sort of races within a allegiance. is it could be a big separation like they've done in the like Blades of Khorne book as an example, Disciples of Zeech, or the Nurgle Battle Tome, where they've got many sort of different races into one battle tome. And that is, if you take Blades of Khorne for example, you've got your mortal Khorne followers, you've got your Bloodbound, and then you've got your demons. And then within these three things, it lets you have a command trait for each one. You can even take things like it sort of specifies artifacts as well, for, you know, depending on what sort of part of this allegiance you're taking, being the mortals, the bloodbound, or the demons. So that's a sort of bigger picture we could see for this. The smaller idea, and I think this is probably realistically more likely, is that we're just going to see simple separations between the three, which we saw in the Seraphon allegiance abilities. And this is just in the command traits, and this is just saying if you take a Slan as your general, I believe it's 3 command traits he can pick from. If you take a Saurus as your general, these are 3 command traits they can take from. And then lastly, if you take a Skink as your general, these are 3 command traits he can pick from. So I think this is probably more what we're going to see from it. It's probably going to be more related to like Seraphon, rather than we see with these sort of, you know, bigger Battle armies like you know, Khorne, Zeech, Nurgle, and yeah, those sort of things. So I think it will be a bit more simpler, but, you know, it will be cool. It will mean that you can customize. If you really want just like a Dragon Ogre army, it'll probably be a bit more powerful now, so that'll be very nice to see. And that leads on to, it also says that there's going to be some War Scroll changes within the Beast of Chaos, you know, army. So it'll make your Prey Herds a bit more powerful. It'll make, again, like I was saying, your Dragon Ogres a bit more of a reason why you would take them. And don't get me wrong, Dragon Ogres are awesome, but there's always been probably something better in Chaos you could take in your army. So it'd be nice to see these War Scrolls updated, and hopefully we will see the Beast Lord War Scroll updated, because he's alright, but you might as well take a Bray Shaman in your Bray Herd list rather than a Beast Lord, because I haven't looked at his War Scroll for a while, but I seem to remember his command trait. It is good, but he needs to kill something to activate it, and it's a bit like he can be a bit squishy in combat. So hopefully he'll be reworked, and it's nice to hear that quite a few of the War Scrolls will be reworked to make them essentially more competitive. So that'll be nice. And then it goes on to say that obviously we know there's a Battle Tome coming out, but there will be also a limited edition of the Battle Tome coming out, which will only have 400 copies worldwide. And I think, personally, I'm looking at this Battle Tome, the limited edition one, and I think, you know what, that looks really nice. I would like to get it. However, it's going to be £50. It's the price of 2 Battle Tomes. So I'm a little bit umming and ahhing, as I sort of was with the Nighthawk one and the Stormcast one. And I thought I wouldn't get the limited edition Stormcast one because that's probably going to become outdated within 9 months to a year probably. However, with this Beast of Chaos Battle Tome, it is slightly more tempting to get a limited edition one. Yeah, of course it's, you know, like double the price, but I think it's safe to say that Beast of Chaos, after this release, they're not going to get an update for a while. And as sad as that is, you know, inevitably is going to be, it means this Battle Tome will be valid for longer, more than likely, unless, you know, obviously points get changed in the General's Handbook, but, you know, that can be looking a bit too far into it. So you're going to get more mileage for your money in this limited edition. So it could be, you know, an idea. And putting all that rounding aside, the artwork just looks fantastic. So yeah, that will be very, very tempting to me, I think. It then goes on to tell us about the Hearthstone. So it says that it doesn't cost any points in your army. It will make enemies' armor around the Hearthstone weaker, so essentially it will be maybe minusing the enemies' the save rolls, or doing rend to them within a certain radius of it, maybe. It does also mention about it will be key to summoning new units into the game, so that's also something new with the Beastmen, or the Beast of Chaos, that we'll be seeing this Battle Tome. So we'll have a summoning mechanic, and that can, as it says earlier, basically how you use it is you're going to have to sacrifice some of your models in order to summon new ones, and it says you can summon from as little as Ongor Raiders onto more powerful things like, Crimea and potentially other, Monsters of Chaos, I imagine. So that's nice. They've got a summon mechanic, so it's a way for them to maybe deep strike into the enemy back lines, or maybe they'll have to be summoned within a range of this Hearthstone as a sense that they are being called to the battle from this Hearthstone. So that'll be interesting to see as well. And I think that was it about the Hearthstone. And like I said, it doesn't cost any points to your army, so it's something we've seen similar to grave sites for the Legions of Nagash. I can't remember the name of it, but that's Shipwreck for the Deepkin, and like a Sylvaneth Wildwood for the Sylvaneth. So it's nice to get one of those as well, and obviously the model looks fantastic. So then we move on to the Endless Spells. Now we do actually have some more information on them, so nothing like War Scrolls or anything like that, but we do have a little bit of an idea of what they are going to do now. So, and most importantly, we have names for them, which makes my life a lot easier if I can pronounce them. So we start with the Wildfire Taurus, which I'm sure you guys can gather is the lovely flaming bull that you can see in the picture now. And it says that you'll be able to break battle lines with it. So we sort of knew what it was going to be. It was going to be a very aggressive spell, but it's nice to just have that extra little bit confirmed there. We then move on to the Ravening Dire Flock, which I don't know if someone did mention this in the comments. I do seem to remember the name Dire Flock. Well, I think someone guessed the name would be. So if you did get it right, well done. That's nice. Now I say it's the Ravening. I might be called the Ravening. I'm not too sure how that word is pronounced. But anyway, so we've got that, and it also says that spell will sap the morale of the enemy, so it'll make the enemy's bravery less. So that's always nice in any army. So that's all good. And then doesn't actually say what the Brayhorn does, and it hasn't even named it, but I presume that's what it's going to be called. However, what it does say at the end is these spells provide all sorts of new tactical options for your wizards. So again, I imagine that's going to be a spell that's going to benefit your army opposed to being aggressive. So that may be something what the Beasts of Chaos need. As currently looking at their War Scrolls, they're not fantastic. However, in the new Battle Tome, they're going to be, bumped up a little bit. And in the Allegiances, they may get they better get some more synergy in there. And the Hall might just be a way to increase this synergy even more. So that'll be good to see there. And then it goes on to talk about our accessories for the Beasts of Chaos. It says they are going to get War Scroll cards, which before I wasn't huge about. But now I do quite like the War Scroll cards because the format has changed and it is so much better. It says 29 War Scrolls for the new Battle Tome. So I'm sure you guys, if you wanted to, be able to work out exactly what units are going to be inside the Beast of Chaos, if we don't know that already, by working out, how many War Scrolls there are. It does also say there'll be War Scroll cards for the spells as well. So it's probably more like 26 actual unit War Scrolls. There is one of the War Scrolls that's on the top of the pile here, you'll see in the picture, is the Beast Lord. Now, apart from reading its sort of stat wheel and more obvious things, I can't really work out what the writing on the War Scroll says. So if you are one of those guys talented enough to be able to read what that says, please let me know in the comments, because it will be exciting to see his War Scroll and hopefully the changes on it. Right, then we move on to one of the most lucky things we're going to get is new dice. Now, unfortunately, this might just be me, but I think these are going to be one of the dice. They're going to be pretty hard to read, or at least from what we can see at the moment, because we have got two very nice symbols on them. We have got a skull with tiny little horns in the head, which are presumably the ones, and then we have a sort of, a gore skull on the other side that is presumably the 6. And those two things are pretty distinct, pretty easy to tell apart for any player really, if you're not, a Beast of Chaos player. Now, I feel like some people are going to say that these dice are going to be one of those dice that's going to be really hard to read, but I argue differently, because the first time I saw these dice, I thought, oh, they might be a little bit dodgy. But however, the skull for a 1 looks very clear. The skull for a 6. It's pretty different from the skull from the 1, so it looks pretty clear. And then for the 4 sides in between them, what it looks like it's going to be is a circle with diamonds to represent the numbers. So if we look at the circle for a 3, it looks like it is the circle and then 2 diamonds on the edges of it and 1 diamond in the middle of the circle. And then that to me looks like a 3 because 3 diamonds. So essentially however many diamonds there are going to be on these sides of the dice is what number it represents. And I think, yeah, if you roll in a crazy amount of attacks for your Gauls, it might be harder to try and pick out the numbers, but I think they're not too bad, especially compared to some of the dice out there, like the Zeech ones, which were, yeah, a bit too extreme, I think, in my personal opinion. So we then move on to our start collecting Beasts of Chaos box. Now this is simply probably the best part out of the whole article, I think. Some people might like have hoped from a start collecting box, but not every army that's came out has got a start collecting box, so it's very nice for us to get one here. And this one has got some good value in it. So what do we get? A good variety, starting with 10 Ungors, then 10 Bestigors, and then we have a Sigor, and then to top it off we have a Bray Shaman. So we're getting our basic unit, the Ungors, we're getting our elite unit, the Bestigors, and then we're also getting the Sigor as well, and then like I said with the Bray Shaman. It's just really nice variety there. And of course with it all being new and in a start collecting box, they all come on round bases. And then we move on to what it says you can add extra onto this with 3 new units that have been reboxed as well to come with round bases, and that is your Bulgors, your Chaos Warhounds, and then your standard Gors. So that's good. Obviously they're getting reboxed, however they haven't really mentioned the other units within like Bray Herd or the other factions that make up the Beasts of Chaos. So on one side I'm happy because these guys are getting reboxed, which I imagine they were going to get reboxed with round bases anyway, considering there's a battle time coming out for them. However, I would have liked even just news that, you know, like Dragon Ogres and other units are going to get rebased as well. Hopefully they will do, but I'm not too sure. And the other reason why I like them to be rebased is, of course, that means that you don't have to buy the bases separately at extra cost and so on. But if they're not rebased onto round bases, they're not going to be sold in the Games Workshop stores themselves. They're going to have to be a online order, which is, yeah, it's annoying. As if you really want them, I mean, my delivery situation for my local store might be quite good, but if I want to buy them, I'm going to have to wait a week for them to be delivered. So, yeah, it's a little bit annoying because a little bit greedy if I want something, you know, for the hobby. If I want to buy a unit, I want to buy it now and start building it and painting it. I don't really want to buy it and then try and keep this excitement for it leading on until a week's time. So that's a little bit annoying there, as I do really want to make a heavy Dragon Ogre and Beast of Chaos army. That would be awesome, but I'll see how long that sort of project dream lasts. So yeah, that's quite good. And then that's basically it, and it finishes off saying that they will cover more previews on the Battle Tome in the next week. So I'll be sure to have a look on to see what those you know, articles say. But unfortunately, at the end of this week, so on Friday, I've got a very big exam for work. It's a very large assessment, which I need to revise for and really sort of spend all my free time doing. So unfortunately, even if there is really exciting news coming out on Warhammer Community, I won't really be able to do any videos about it until a week or two's time, like I say, to get this exam done. So that's why I wanted to make this quick video now, just to tell you my initial thoughts on it and how excited I am for doing it. I've already joined up with one of my mates from my Games Workshop store, where we're going to be building an army together for the Beast of Chaos, so it's official. I've, you know, already invested money into this, so it will happen, hopefully. So yeah, that's all good. And again, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's just it's a quick video, just telling you my initial thoughts and, like I say, just how excited I am on it. Please let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and then we have a good discussion. Be great to hear what you guys think about all this news coming out, and hopefully you're just as excited as I am. So, as always guys, if you've enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe and comment down below, as that does always help me make as many videos as I can. And like I say, I hope you've enjoyed this video. And remember, Nagash is all, and all is one in Nagash.